Here we go now.
If you are ready to live a life of abundance, if you are ready to best your best, then come to the edge. Because if you are not living your life on the edge, you are taking up far too much room.
Here we go now.
Check the label. Welcome back to The Edge. I'm your host, Eric Brown, and with me, Mr. Mike Jones.
Hey, Brown, how you doing, man?
Oh, man, living the dream.
I think that's a really, really good question for this pod blast, and you're absolutely going to have to listen with the intent to be influenced. As always, that's the only way that you're going to be able to receive this and best your best. So the question is, what's on the label? Now, those of you that have been to the grocery store and you look at the label on anything that you are about to buy, if you've gone to the clothing store and you look at the label on whatever it is that you are purchasing to determine what this clothing item is made from, what you recognize is that the most important ingredients that are in that food, the most important ingredients that are in that garment are listed first. So the question is, what is on the label?
So I'm curious, Mike, what does the label have to do with creating a better version of yourself?
You know, that's really a good question, Eric. So if I am focused on my label, then I know in order to create a better version of myself, then I need to be able to focus on besting my best with the things that are going to be the most important to creating a better version of myself. So let's say on my label, some of the things that are listed first on my label is being creative, being positive, being supportive. If you are focused on bringing somebody on your team, I would encourage you to check the label. So if the individual that you need is going to be interfacing with your client or the public, then some of the most important ingredients that need to be listed on that label is that they are personable, that they are friendly, that they are positive. You're beginning to kind of understand this now, aren't you? If you're working with someone who has to deal with analytics or numbers, check the label. That label needs to read that they are analytical, that they are factual, that they weigh the pros and the cons, that they are critical thinkers, that they are absolutely detail oriented. So I'm encouraging you to truly start expanding your view now of this particular podcast, because now as you and some of you are in the market for a partner in your life, I would encourage you to check the label. Quite often we look at the exterior of the person and make a determination about their worth or value to us as a person or as a partner. I'm going to encourage you to not look at the 1% that is visible to your human eye. Check the label. You're going to find out more about this person, whether you are hiring them or you're focused on dating them, by checking the label. Now, if you're truly looking to create a better version of yourself, let's bring it back here for a second. I want you to check your label in the context of how you are showing up in your relationships. Are you being supportive? Are you being present with them? Are you getting off of your phone and getting off of your computer when your significant other or your children are talking to you? When you leave work, do you go home and continue doing the work? Because all of that's a part of your label. In order for us to be able to create the person that we truly want to be in these relationships, we've got to look at the label and make sure that the things that are going to allow us to deliberately and intentionally become the person that is needed in those relationships, we've got to know what's on that label.
So, Mike, in a prior pod blast, you talked about failure not being fatal. So if you have a label, but you're not getting towards creating a better version of yourself, what would you suggest the audience to do?
Yeah, and in that same podcast, we talked a lot about changing your approach to change your results. So if you look at your label and your label is not producing the results that you want, if you look at the label of the people that you are managing at work and the ingredients on that label is not producing the results that you want, if you are looking at the label that's on your kid's label and it's not producing the results that you want, you have got to be willing to change your approach to get a different result. You are absolutely going to matter in the context of this conversation more than you can even imagine. But you've got to stop looking at the 1% that is visible to the human eye and begin looking at the label. Begin looking deeper to be able to truly determine whether or not what's on that label is going to produce what you want.
So how do we actually look deeper, though, if the 1% is the only thing visible to us? What do we do to really dig deep and get the true ingredients of the label?
Well, the one thing that we can be sure of, Eric, and this makes it easy for you, so no excuses. Here is the answer to the question. So I truly hope that you can hear me. Behavior is observable. If you are taking the time to be present with people, you know what's on their label because they are demonstrating the behaviors that are clearly making you aware of what's on that label. Quite often, because of the market that we're in, and there's so few people in the job market, we are willing to accept labels that are not going to be conducive for us getting to our outcome. Because I've heard it said many times when coaching people in their personal relationships, the devil that I know is better than the one that I don't. So they stay in a relationship where the things on that label are not making them happy, are not satisfying them, are not absolutely making them feel like they're wanted and needed and loved. You have got to be willing to accept the fact in this present moment that behavior is observable. You can clearly observe the ingredients on that label if you are truly present with the people in your life.
So take the time to be present with the people and truly get to know them and read their label?
Absolutely. The more and more you want to authenticate what kind of relationship this is, you have got to know what's on that label. So I am going to encourage you to take the time to be present with the people in your life. Behavior is observable. And if you are willing to truly be authentic and honest with yourself, you know what's on that label. And you know if what's on that label is what you need in order for you to be successful in those relationships, and if the relationship has the potential of trending in the right direction.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Check the label.
Absolutely. And when you get to checking those labels, baby, it's going to push you out there on that edge. Because if you are not living your life on the edge, you are taking up far too much room.
Here we go now.